again. It's like, I think me and him's the GOAT. I think we're both the GOAT. My name's Shedeur Sanders. I'm from Texas, and I go to school at Trinity Christian Cedar Hill. I really don't trash talk at all. I just let my brother Deion Sanders Jr. just hype me up, and I like that. I like that. What motivates me is when people call me Deion Sanders son. I don't like that. I'm my own man. I'm Shedeur Sanders. And people are going to see that next year. I'm going to be my own person, and I'm going to make sure that I don't just get credit for what my dad did. I'm going to do it because I want to do it. I remember my form, everything was messed up, but my quarterback trainer, Coach Jeff Blake, he helped me a lot and helped me just get to where I need to be. I'm over a pocket passer right now because it's my freshman season. I'm just trying to get used to the new speed and everything, but I'm trying to implement that in my game. I'm trying to be a runner and a thrower, a dual threat, a real dual.
Shedeur Sanders looked straight into the camera as a sophomore and said, "I think we're both the GOAT." And people instantly wrote it off as arrogance. But listen to this. That line wasn't cocky. It was coded. And it explains why he's rising while other gifted quarterbacks stall out. Before we unpack what that really says about his mindset, you need to hear how he reacted to being labeled Deion's son. That one response sheds light on the draft slide and even that fishing story with his dad, because that's where the shift really happened. Here's what they don't highlight enough. Shedeur's been trying to step out of his father's shadow since he was barely a teenager. The kind of pressure he faced as a freshman would have crushed most kids. It didn't crush him, it forged him. Picture this with me. Shedeur sits down with overtime after winning a state championship as a freshman quarterback. That alone is wild. A freshman leading a team to a state title? That's rare air. But instead of flexing, instead of soaking up praise, he's already locked in on the next season, already sharpening the edges, already bracing for critics. And when the Deion comparisons come up, he doesn't hesitate. He says it fuels him when people call him Deion Sanders' son, but he doesn't like it because he's his own man. He's Shedeur Sanders. That's not arrogance, that's self-preservation. Really sit with that. Every day, people see Deion first, then the talent, then the grind, then the resume. Everything gets filtered through, well, of course he's good. Look who raised him. And that lingers. You can hear the edge in his voice. He's 14 or 15 and already tired of being framed as a legacy instead of a leader. He promises people will see the real him next year. I'm going to be my own person. And this ties directly to what happened years later during the draft. The narrative painted him as spoiled, entitled, riding coattails, but they flipped the script completely. His entire identity is built on separating from that shadow. His journey has been a non-stop campaign to prove he stands alone. So when analysts labeled him overrated because of his last name, they attacked the very trait that defines Shedeur, his autonomy. But let's not skip steps. Go back to that same interview because it foreshadowed everything. He credits quarterback coach Jeff Blake for rebuilding his mechanics. He straight up admits his form was off, and he owns it. He's not acting as if he walked in polished. He's acknowledging the grind it took to refine his craft. That's rare maturity for a high school kid. Most teens, especially with famous last names, mask flaws. They sell the illusion that it's all natural. Meanwhile, Shedeur is openly saying his mechanics were broken and he needed guidance. That's a blueprint for longevity, because if you can't confront weaknesses, you can't correct them. Then he says something subtle but powerful about his style. He compares himself to his brother Shiloh. He says Shiloh runs more, and right now he's more of a pocket passer. Right now. That phrase is intentional because he follows it by saying he's working to add that dimension. He wants to run too. He wants to be a true dual threat.
A lot of responsibilities, and I'm a Sanders, so I mean, that's expected, and that's going to happen. We were at my old house in Prosper, Texas, and then me and my dad were fishing, and then he got mad because I hooked the duck. Fishing helped me just relax, just keep my mind off things, and it's just like a alternate from like the real world. It just helps me just chill, just be laid back. Next year, it's a different me. I'm going to be a runner and a thrower. This Shedeur, thanks for coming. Shout out.
Even as a freshman, fresh off a state title, he's already dissecting the next layer of his game. He's not content being labeled just a pocket passer. He wants the full package. And that obsession with growth, That's the gap between good and legendary. But hold up, here's the piece nobody really breaks down, the fishing story. He talks about being out in Texas with Dion, hooking a fish first, and his dad getting competitive about it. That's classic father-son energy. Even chill time turns into competition. But listen to why Shedeur says he loves fishing. He says it lets him breathe, clear his head, step outside the noise. That's heavy for a 15-year-old. That tells you the pressure on him isn't normal teenage stress. This is next-level spotlight pressure. He's growing up under a microscope that most grown men couldn't handle. And he's doing it while trying to carve out an identity separate from one of the most iconic athletes ever. Of course he needs an escape. And it's not just outside expectations. He puts weight on his own shoulders, too. He talks about leadership, about how being a Sanders comes with built-in expectations. He doesn't whine about it. He accepts it. He understands the name opens doors, but he's determined to walk through them on performance, not privilege. That's a tightrope most adults would slip off. He's been balancing it since middle school. Now let's circle back to the "we're both the GOAT" line. That wasn't disrespect. That wasn't ego. That was ownership. He's saying Dion mastered his era, and I'm coming for mine. 2 lanes, 2 legacies, same standard of greatness. That's not arrogance, that's clarity of vision. When you're born into greatness, you can't chase your parents' shadow forever. You've got to define your own excellence, and Shedeur figured that out early. The interview also shows his emotional IQ. He shouts out teammate Maurice Weston for keeping the locker room loose and joyful. That tells you Shedeur knows he's intense. He values balance. That's maturity most high schoolers don't have. But maybe the deepest part is when he talks about trust. He admits he doesn't know if people are around him for real friendship or business, so he treats everything like business. Pause there. A 15-year-old already understands transactional relationships. That's heartbreaking and powerful at the same time. He's dealt with clout chasers and opportunists before he could even drive. But instead of turning bitter, he adjusted. Tight circle, football first, let the work speak. That's the Shedeur draft analysts missed. They saw confidence and assumed entitlement. But confidence backed by grind is different. He's been locked in since day one. He says football was destiny, not a choice. And instead of running from that pressure, he embraced it. When he says he's always been focused, the receipts are right there. Fixed mechanics, expanded skill set, leadership mentality, mental resets through fishing, business-minded awareness. That's someone serious about the craft. And after that interview, he delivered. He built his own style, precision, pocket presence, command. Nothing like Prime's flair. He added mobility when it mattered, not a runner first, but capable when the moment demands it. And the Dion Son label? Still lingering, but he's forcing people to respect Shedeur the quarterback. Sophomore year growth, junior year jump, senior year polish, college evolution, constant upgrades. That's not hype, that's progression. And here's why that early interview matters so much. The mentality was already there, the independence, the hunger, the understanding that talent isn't enough. NIL deals and social media buzz came later. The foundation was built at 14. That's why he's built for the NFL, because talent without mental armor folds under pressure. Shedeur has been handling criticism, expectations, and noise since high school. The league is just a louder version of the same stage. Think about that arc, from Dion's kid to Shedeur Sanders, from flawed mechanics to polished prospect, from needing fishing as an escape to channeling pressure into production. That's growth. That's franchise quarterback development. And here's the scary part for the rest of the league. He's still hungry. Even after winning big early, he was plotting the next leap. That fire doesn't cool off. That drive to prove he's his own man, that's career fuel. So when he said we're both the GOAT, he wasn't comparing resumes. He was declaring his intention. My dad dominated his time. I'm coming for mine. And based on the growth, the resilience, the mindset we've seen, he's got a real shot. Not by copying Dion, not by being Prime 2.0, but by redefining what it means to carry a legendary last name and exceed it. That's what scouts overlooked. They hunted for flaws and ignored the foundation. They mistook determination for arrogance, pressure for privilege, legacy for laziness. And that misread might have cost teams big, because someone who's been proving people wrong since 14 isn't going to shrink under pro lights. The tools are already there. Work ethic, self-awareness, tunnel vision focus. They've been there. You just had to look deeper. So when you watch him now, remember that sophomore interview. Remember the kid who used doubt as fuel. Remember the freshman champ who immediately planned improvement. Remember the teenager finding peace on fishing trips just to stay balanced. That's Shedeur. Always has been. And that's why he's wired to win at the highest level. Because greatness isn't just skill, it's mindset. And his mindset was forged under pressure that most prospects never experience. He's ready, not just physically, but mentally. In today's NFL, that's the separator. He's shown that toughness repeatedly. Anyone still doubting him is watching headlines, not history. The final chapter isn't written yet, but if that early interview showed us anything, it's this. He doesn't run from challenges. He feeds on them. And that's how you build your own GOAT conversation. If you want to track how this plays out, hit subscribe. Drop your take below. Will Shedeur surpass Dion, or is that the wrong debate entirely? Let's talk about it.